Welcome to section 17.2, part 1. This is the 175th session of the CISSP exam prep series. This part opens our tour of the controls and attacks that shape day-to-day defense. In this session, we'll build the foundation for detecting and preventing incidents. We'll answer several questions. What is the difference between a preventive and a detection control? What basic steps stop a huge share of attacks? Why do we study attack methods at all? What is a botnet, and how do you keep systems out of one? And what is a denial of service attack in its various forms? Why does this matter beyond the exam? Because attackers probe constantly, and you cannot defend what you do not understand. Picture a mid-sized retailer whose website suddenly slows to a crawl during a holiday sale. Is it traffic, a flood attack, or a hijacked fleet of devices hammering the server? On the job, recognizing the shape of an attack lets you pick the right countermeasure fast, instead of guessing while revenue leaks away. What is the difference between a preventive and a detection control? A preventive control tries to stop unwanted activity before it happens. Think of fences, locks, encryption, firewalls, and intrusion prevention systems. A detection control works after the fact, discovering activity that already occurred. Think of security guards, audit trails, honeypots, and intrusion detection systems. A quick note for the exam. You will see both preventive and preventative used, and they mean the same thing. Picture a locked door as prevention and a camera recording the hallway as detection. What basic steps stop a huge share of attacks? No single move blocks everything, but a handful go a long way. Keep systems and applications patched, because unapplied fixes protect nobody. Remove or disable services and protocols you do not need, since an attacker cannot exploit what is not running. Deploy intrusion, detection, and prevention systems. Use current anti-malware and enable firewalls on both the network and the host. Finally, run configuration and system management so machines stay secure over their whole lifetime. Think of it as basic hygiene that quietly prevents most infections. Why do we study attack methods at all? Because you cannot prevent, recognize, or respond to what you have never seen. Security professionals learn common attacks so they can take proactive steps, spot the attack in progress, and react correctly. This is not about memorizing every exploit ever written. It is about knowing the shapes and patterns well enough to react under pressure. Think of a lifeguard who studies how drowning actually looks, so they recognize it instantly instead of freezing. What is a botnet? A botnet is a collection of infected computers acting like remote-controlled robots, often called bots or zombies. A criminal known as a bot herder commands them all through one or more command and control servers. The bots check in for instructions, then do whatever they are told, launching distributed denial of service attacks, blasting spam and phishing, or getting rented out to other criminals. Machines usually join a botnet after being infected with malicious code, which can quietly install keyloggers and hunt for passwords. Picture an army of hijacked puppets, all waiting on strings pulled from a single hidden hand. How do you keep systems out of a botnet? Use defense in depth, layering several protections. Since infection is the usual entry point, keep anti-malware current and keep systems patched, because much malware exploits unpatched flaws. But tools alone are not enough, since attackers constantly craft malware that slips past scanners. That makes user education essential, because most infections start with a malicious phishing email or a trick that harvests a password. Keep browsers and their plugins updated, and never disable built-in browser protections, like sandboxing just for a little speed. Think of layered locks, alarms, and an alert household, not a single deadbolt. What is a denial of service attack? A denial of service attack stops a system from serving legitimate requests. One common form floods a server with more packets than it can process. Another exploits a known flaw to crash the system or pin its processor at full load. The result is degraded performance, crashes, reboots, or blocked service. A basic denial of service comes from a single source against a single target, and attackers usually spoof the source address to stay anonymous. Picture one prank caller jamming a hotline so no real caller can get through. What makes a distributed denial of service worse? In a distributed denial of service attack, many systems strike a single target at the same time. Attackers rarely round up volunteers. Instead, they compromise many machines or simply point a botnet at the victim. So the flood arrives from thousands of directions at once. These attacks typically target internet-facing systems, and dedicated mitigation services can filter or divert enough malicious traffic that users barely notice. A variant called a reflective attack bounces traffic off other services so it lands on the victim from innocent-looking sources. Picture thousands of prank callers hitting that hotline in unison from numbers that all look legitimate. So let's bring it together. Preventive controls stop activity before it happens, while detection controls catch it after. Basic hygiene, patching, trimming services, firewalls, anti-malware, and configuration management prevents most attacks. We study attack shapes so we can recognize and respond fast. A botnet is a herd of infected machines under one criminal's control, best countered with layered defenses and educated users. And denial of service, whether from one source or a distributed flood, aims to drown out legitimate traffic. Next, we will dig into specific flood attacks and how each one works. The MCQs covering all the topics and concepts from this session are available on RooCloud.com. Practice the chapter-specific MCQs before moving on to the next session. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or feedback, post a comment below or email us. I will see you in the next session.